He followed Shirley over to another counter where bolts of cloth and sewing things were kept. The two strangers, both trail-hardened cowhands from the looks of them, turned to stare at him in open scorn. "Will there be anything else?" Ben asked. "No, reckon not," the big one replied. "I was thinking about looking at some of your fancy lace, or some pretty bows or something, but I reckon I'll do that some other time." His friend cracked up over the remark, and they both roared with laughter. They were still laughing when they headed toward the door. "Maybe I'll knit some booties to put on my horse," the big one said loudly as they went out. "I'm sorry about that," Ben said. "Sorry about what?" Perley asked. Ben looked surprised. "Those two Jaspers," he said. "They were a rough-looking pair, and I'm sorry they took to japing you like that. But I'll be honest with you, they look like too much for me to handle." "Were they japing me?" Perley asked. "I reckon I wasn't paying enough attention to know it. Don't pay 'em no mind. Just some cowhands in town to dust off some rust. They most likely didn't mean any harm." Ben exchanged a puzzled glance with his wife and shook his head. "I think this blue is more what Esther is looking for," Shirley said. "Looks good to me," Perley said. "Cut off however much the pattern calls for. I've got to pick up something from Patton's. I'll go do that while you're getting my order ready." He left the buckboard at the rail in front of Henderson's and walked up the street past the post office to Patton's saloon. "Howdy, Perley," Paul McQueen, the blacksmith, called out when Perley walked by. Perley returned the greeting but continued on to the saloon. As long as he was picking up a pattern and material for Esther, he thought he might as well surprise her with one of her favorite treats. Patton's was an odd place to get it, but in Paris it was the only place. Perley might have considered having a drink while he was there, but it was a little early in the day for him. Another reason was of a more personal nature. Any time he came to town, especially if alone, he made it a point to eat dinner at the Paris diner, and he didn't like to have whiskey on his breath when he ate there. He wouldn't want Lucy Tate to smell it on him. According to his railroad watch, he had about the right amount of time to make a quick stop in Patton's, then return to Henderson's to pick up his supplies. That should put him at the diner right when they opened for the midday meal. A picture of Lucy Tate floating cheerfully around the dining room immediately took over Perley's mind. Sometimes he couldn't clear his brain of the diner's young waitress, and he was certain that she had similar feelings for him. She never failed to give him special attention when he came in, even to the point of sitting down at the table with him to visit. Perley was the only one of Nathaniel Gates's grown sons who was not married, and Perley felt that maybe it was time to think about things like that. Reuben and John were lucky that they had found good women to build their families with. He just hadn't met that special woman yet, but maybe Lucy was meant to fill that void in his life. There were 2 saddled horses and 1 pack horse tied at the rail in front of Patton's. It was early for the afternoon customers, and already late for the dedicated drunks who opened up the saloon. Perley stepped up onto the boardwalk and went inside, where he found Raymond Patton sitting at a table against the wall, drinking coffee. "Morning, Perley," Patton greeted him. "Morning," Perley returned with a nod, then went straight to the bar to speak to Benny Grimes, the bartender. "Howdy, Perley," Benny said. "Ain't seen you in town in a while." "Reckon not," Perley said. "We're kind of busy this time of year, getting the cattle ready for the drive up to Ogallala." "I figured as much," Benny said. "Ain't seen much of any of your crew. What'll you have, whiskey?" "Little too early," Perley answered. "I just came in to buy a couple of those big peppermint sticks you keep for Mrs. Patton." At the other end of the long bar, Zeke Cotton nudged the man drinking beside him with his elbow. "Looky there," he drawled, making no attempt to muffle his comment. "Damned if that ain't that sweet little girly fella that was at the store buying..."